Okay, I'm going to do this very quickly because I know it is Saturday. People have stuff to do. But I just wanted to talk about something very quickly um, because something is happening in the state of Virginia right now. And a lot of people are trying to capitalize off of it. So, if you haven't heard, our former lieutenant governor, Justin Fairfax, who served under Ralph Northam, was found deceased in a murder suicide. So basically, he murdered his wife and then he took the coward's way out. And it was so frustrating because you had all of these people and their immediate response was to talk about how they knew Justin Fairfax and how they thought he was such a wonderful man and such a great person. And they said nothing. They said nothing about Dr. Cerina Fairfax, the woman that he brutally and viciously murdered. And they said nothing about the two children who were in the house at the time that their father murdered their mother. They said nothing about the 16-year-old teenaged boy and the 14-year-old teenaged girl that found their mother's dead body. Everything was about sanitizing the image of this bitch fuck ass nigga that murdered this woman. So I want to talk about Roland Martin. Okay. Now he has a Twitter post that he has since deleted. But in the post, it was a picture of him, Dr. Cerina, and bitch ass, cowardly ass Justin Fairfax. And he was talking about how he knew them and how Justin Fairfax was his frat brother and he named the fraternity. Okay. And then he claimed that Dr. Cerina had asked Norfolk State University to allow him, Roland Martin, to be a commencement speaker. First of all, bitch, nobody can corroborate that story because Dr. Cerina is deceased. Secondly, who the fuck wants you talking to their kids? Who are you to be giving a commencement address? People have to be very careful about what they say on the internet. Like, this nigga would be really fucking embarrassed if people really asked Norfolk State, hey, was there a chance in hell that this bitch ass nigga would be giving a commencement address? But how depraved do you have to be to look at a situation where two children were in the house when their mother was murdered? How evil do you have to be to take that as a moment to try to promote yourself? Also, thank you, Helen. Also, listen, I'm a native Virginian. I was born and raised here. There's no way that Justin Fairfax would have ever become governor of this state, even without the sexual assault allegations. First of all, he was a political unknown when he became lieutenant governor. Okay. And secondly, he promoted things that are objectionable to many of the voters in this state. Okay. We understand that people have human rights, but when you start suggesting all that rainbow shit, and promoting it in schools, you lose voters, including those old school black voters that typically swing with Democrats. And then in this part of Virginia, which I'm pretty close to like Norfolk and Virginia Beach. So if you know anything about this area of Virginia, we have a lot of military bases down here. In this part of Virginia, when you start talking about cutting the military, you lose votes. Because when you cut the military, you also cut all of the civilian jobs that are tied to that. So when you talk about people that are ship fitters, electricians, bricklayers, painters, all of those people in the trades, when you cut the military, guess what? They don't have jobs. And the other thing that has been happening, if you talk to anyone that you know that's in the trades, they will tell you this, or people that work in like factories, manufacturing or whatever. What happens is you will get these foreign born people in a position and they'll become like a foreman. And then all of a sudden, all of the new hires will be people that are here illegally, but they're from the same country that that foreman is from. They get all the promotions, right? And everybody else is just asked the fuck out. And they also get into human resources positions. Particularly like, you know, the people that onboard you when you start a new job. So for example, I'm about to start a new job in a couple of weeks. So one of the things that I will have to do is present documentation to show that I am a legal citizen, right? And that I have the right to work in this country. Well, they will bring in all of these foreign people and have them be like the HR coordinators and stuff. And they just completely ignored the I-9 verification process. So that's how you have so many, thank you, Helen. That's how you have so many people who are able to work here illegally. And the other thing that happens as well is they help them commit identity fraud. They have whole networks of people that will help them use somebody else's identity, right? So there's still people's social security numbers for the ones that do go through the I-9 verification. So they use a valid social security number to go through that process, but only it's somebody else's social security number. And then when that person goes to apply for social security benefits, the Social Security Administration comes back to them and says, well, wait a minute, we show you have this other set of earnings. And that's a terrible process for someone to have to go through. But I just find it very shameful and just very disgusting that this fat motherfucker literally used the moment where this entire state is in mourning right now. Use the moment where this woman who is very beloved, and then this woman is a mother. So we're all like fucked up in the head about the fact that her kids were in the house. And I think it was the oldest one, the boy, that found his mother dead. He literally told the cops that her body and her clothes were full of holes. So that means that pussy ass bitch repeatedly shot her. Like emptied a clip into this woman's body. And instead, he says, well, oh, I knew this couple and they were such wonderful people. And oh, by the way, this dead woman whose children found her dead body, oh, she wanted me to be the commencement speaker at Norfolk State University and they declined. Bitch, you wouldn't be considered anyway. You would not be considered anyway. And you don't know anything about the state of Virginia if you think that you would be. And it's like, it's crazy to me because that's true, V-Dub. It's crazy to me because on the one hand, people like Roland Martin, right? So if you had a 16-year-old black boy who was in jail for some shit that he actually did, he would be like, "Oh no, we have to care about black boys." But you had no problem using the death of this 16-year-old black boy who found his mom's body. You had no problem using that as an opportunity to try to promote yourself. That's why I keep telling y'all, black people don't give a fuck about black children. If Roland Martin cared about black children, his immediate thought would have been with those kids. And the only reason he took that Twitter post down, I bet you, he took that Twitter post down because the guys in his fraternity and the people at Norfolk State University probably got at his ass. Even if you think about, like, so right now we have this whole thing going on here where they want to do something, where they want to add additional congressional seats, right? So every time I turn on YouTube or my TV, I see that big-eared freak, Barack Obama, vote yes on April 21st. Nigga, nobody here fucks with you. Old black people are completely disappointed in Obama. And I'm going to tell you why. Number one, again, the gay shit. Okay, you have human rights, but why are you trying to promote that in schools? All of those old black people that voted for the first time only for you to be a major fucking disappointment. And I don't believe that Barack Obama and Michelle Obama actually have sex with each other, because both of those girls were born through IVF. Okay? Michelle Obama is a beard, because I don't care what anybody says, that nigga is gay. But where he also lost a lot of older black people was when Barack Obama was in office. He said some things that were offensive to the people that grew up during like segregation and Jim Crow and all that shit. But this whole thing with how Democrats have handled this whole situation with Justin Fairfax is they wanted to sanitize it and clean it up simply because he was a Democrat. And it's like, no, fuck shit is fuck shit. And for Roland Martin to be like, oh, this is mental illness. Did he have a diagnosis? Was he actively trying to get help? And just one last thing I'm going to say about this, because I've seen this. I've seen people say, well, why didn't she just take the kids and leave? Y'all don't understand the way the law works here. If a woman has a child with a man and he is on the birth certificate and there's no custody order, you automatically have joint custody. So if she had taken the kids and gone somewhere and not told him where she had the kids, that's an automatic kidnapping charge. Thank you. It's an automatic kidnapping charge on the state level. If she had went across state lines, it's state and federal charges. You can play with it if you want to. I know several men who have had sole custody of their kids, because all you have to do is take the birth certificate to your local police department. Whether you're the mom or the dad, you take the birth certificate to your local police department and they take it from there. So she followed the legal process. And the nigga just like took her life and didn't give a fuck about how it would affect his kids. And then you want to associate that with mentally ill people. Listen, The overwhelming majority of mentally ill people are not violent and they only pose a threat to themselves. The American Psychological Association is doing some research because there are people, people who have like paranoid schizophrenia or forms of bipolar that causes them to become manic. And a lot of those people have addictions, right, to drugs and alcohol. So the APA is doing research to determine whether or not it's the addiction, along with just them really being evil people, right? But whether it's the addiction, along with their unresolved anger, that causes them to be violent, or if it's the actual mental illness. And I will say a lot of Black women who are more pro-Black minded in Virginia called that shit out. They said, well, why are you attributing this shit, to their husbands, their sons, their whoever, when this is one individual motherfucker who lost control? He saw his life spiraling due to his own actions, and he decided to try to control that woman in the ultimate way, which is to take her life. And I hope more of us as Black women start to look at this shit like, well, wait a minute. This wasn't a Black woman that was out here causing problems for people, being a criminal, fucking with people, hurting people. This woman was a dentist, and she would often do free dental work for people who couldn't afford it. So she had a dental practice, and then she also did dental work half time in her office. There's so many of her patients coming out and talking about just what a wonderful woman she was. But Roland Martin decided to say, well, I knew this woman and I knew her husband, and her husband was one of my fraternity brothers. And you didn't say anything about Dr. Cerina as a person, as a woman, as a mother. The only thing you said about her was, well, she wanted me to be a commencement speaker, and they said no. Don't fuck around and make people start asking. Motherfuckers will call Norfolk State and ask whether or not that shit happened. Anyway, I hope y'all have a good evening. This was really short. Yeah. He doesn't, I don't really find him easy to watch. First of all, I don't like, it's really weird to me when people like bug their eyes out like that. Like, I don't know if he has Graves' disease or if he just does that. But he wants an echo chamber, and he uses his platform to try to revive his dead journalism career. Like, nobody listens to you, Roland Martin. Nobody in Virginia at any of the schools here would want you being a commencement speaker. And with the way that you try to completely leech on to the fact that this woman was brutally murdered, you probably will be in a situation where you cannot step foot into Virginia. Anyway, y'all have a good weekend. I'm going to go and get ready. I'm going to go and grab some oysters because I love seafood. But we'll talk soon, all right? But fuck you, Roland Martin. Good night, everyone else.